Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Ward 7. I was born and raised in the Penn Branch neighborhood of Ward 7, and then moved to Hillcrest when I was about 11. So I've been in Ward 7 pretty much my whole life.
When you think back to your childhood, what were some of the memories that you have of your father working with the community, and even not necessarily the political side of it, but even just the things that he was doing as a community servant, just working with the community? What are some of your memories of that?
Well, there are a lot of those. I remember being 3 years old and marching with him in support of River Terraces. That's the neighborhood in Ward 7. Their complaint against Pepco because they were suffering with pollution as a result of the plant, and they're right by the Anacostia River, which was horribly polluted. And I remember going to River Terrace and marching with the community activists there and with my father in support of policies that would force Pepco to clean up their act. So that there's so many memories of him just taking me to different rallies, and statehood was a very big issue that he fought on behalf of, and I remember going to those rallies as well. So there are a lot of those stories that I can tell.
You and your father started an organization called Serving Our Children. Can you tell me a little bit about that organization and what prompted you and your father to found that organization?
Well, it's rooted in we share the belief that all children have the right to a quality education. All families should have access to high quality educational options. So one thing that we recognized was that teachers often are handicapped in the way that they can provide to children due to budgetary restraints. A lot of times resources that they're supposed to get, they end up not getting. So we came up with the idea of having a nonprofit organization that would provide grants to teachers that they could use for educational expenses, in classroom expenses, because so often teachers have to come out of their pockets in order to buy a new chalkboard or to buy sometimes books for kids who don't have them, things like that. So we thought it'd be a good idea to provide grants to teachers so that they could do that, so that they could fund those in-classroom expenses. Now,
your father is a proponent of having the opportunity or giving the opportunity to kids for kids to go to private schools. Now, that's something that you're supportive of too, I assume.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I am supportive of that. Ward 7 and Ward 8 are both areas of the city that suffer from inadequate educational opportunity. A lot of the students are trapped in schools that aren't serving them well. So I do support programs that provide an opportunity for children to go to the school of their parents' choice. The big thing is that parents should have the right to choose. That's the key tenet of my argument, that parents should have the right to choose, the same way parents in other areas of the city who have certain economic power, they can choose where their child goes. I think that parents in Ward 7 and 8 and all over the city should have that equal right to choose where their child goes to school.
So you're working for people who are in low-income housing. Mm-hmm. You're working trying to give kids who don't have opportunities to get good schooling to get into private schools. And you're also now the director of BAEO. Right. And tell me about BAEO.
Well, BAEO, Black Alliance for Educational Options, that's where I'm working now, and that's the organization I've worked with to try and give parents those options. So we were successful in signing up over 2,000 parents to show support for the Opportunity Scholarship Program, which was reauthorized in April. So it provides up to $12,000 for public and public charter school children to go to a private school of their parents' choice.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I always knew I wanted to go to law school. Mm-hmm. My thinking was I would be a sports agent. I wanted to be a sports agent in entertainment law because I've always enjoyed movies and sports. I'm a big sports fan. But once I started working at Housing Counseling Services and realizing the plight that a lot of residents in the district face, it really changed my mindset. And I grew up in a household with a politician and an elected official, so I was very privy to a lot of the problems that were facing district residents, but I saw it as I grew up and I started working and branching out on my own. I saw it in a different light, especially working in housing counseling services and seeing how some of the people in the city live, and I wanted to change that. So that's when I started to think about being a public servant.
So how do you go from wanting to be, in sports to wanting to help people? What did you see that made you change your mind?
Well, I just the quality of life for people in the city that just I didn't think was up to par. I saw so many. There was a large discrepancy in this small city. You could go to one part and you feel like you're in a suburb in a very, very nice area where there's police presence. You don't feel threatened at all. But then you go 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, and it's totally different. And to me, that just struck me, and I said I'd like to change that or be a part of the body that changes it. And that's why I'm running for council. So
I'd heard some whispers about that. So is that true then, that you are considering running for?
Yes, well, I am running. I'm running in the upcoming election.
You are, and you're going to be running in your dad's ward?
Yes, Ward 7, my home ward.
How old are you?
26.
26. Do you know how old your dad was when he got into politics? Or around the age?
I think he was about 34 or about around there. 92. Yeah.
Around 34.
35. 35.
Do you think maybe you're starting out a little too young?
No, absolutely not. I'm actually going on 27. I'll be 27 in November. But no, I don't think so. I believe that that the thing about it is it's all in your experience and where you're coming from. And I think that I'm a homegrown leader. I work hard. I think that's more important than age. Somebody who will tackle the problems with energy and with vigor and inspire other people to get involved. And I think I can do that. I think it'd be great for the city to have a young leader who can step up and show other youths in the city that they can do the same thing. So I don't think my age is an impediment at all, and I haven't really heard that in the ward either.
I beg to differ, because I think we have a lack of young, particularly African American young people coming out and stepping out into that leadership role.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I feel it's refreshing to see someone so young setting the standard and coming out and saying, look, yes, I'm right out of, yes, I graduated from college and I'm beginning my career as a public servant. That is something most young people should emulate.
I agree.
So, I feel like, it's refreshing,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I welcome that. I think that's a compliment. That is refreshing, and I agree. Especially, frankly, as a black male, I think that the unemployment rate in Ward 7 for black males is 35%, and that's emergency levels, in my opinion. So, to me, I think it is good. I'm proud, and I embrace the opportunity to be almost that sort of role model for young men in the city, that yes, we should get involved. We should get involved with the political process. If there are things that are going on that you don't like, do something about it. Get out there and try to change it. So I agree with you. It is refreshing, and I'm happy to be a part of the coming youth movement in the city.